Hi, this is Max Jacobs, Director of Research for North America at Edison Group, with an Edison TV interview with the CEO of Polyphor.
Maybe we can start with you introducing yourself and providing a brief overview of the company and the markets you're targeting.
I'm Gokhan Batur. I'm the CEO of Polyphor. I joined Polyphor a bit more than a year ago from US Merck. I was there 15 years and I was the head of antibiotics business there. I also had the experience of launching Keytruda in Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa. So some oncology experience from there as well. So with regards to Polyphor, we are a research-driven clinical stage Swiss biotech established in 1996 and listed in 2018. We focus on two critical public health areas, oncology and antibiotics, and all of our molecules come from our proprietary macrocycle technology platform that are either first-in-class or best-in-class molecules. Our lead program is balixafortide, a CXCR4 inhibitor, currently in an international phase 3 trial in HER2-negative advanced breast cancer. In antibiotics, our lead program is inhaled murepavadin to treat chronic pseudomonas aeruginosa infections in cystic fibrosis. We are about to initiate the phase 1 trial in Q4 2020, and this is a totally novel class that specifically targets pseudomonas aeruginosa, which is the leading cause of lung function decline and mortality in CF patients.
Great. And so maybe you can dig a little into which part of the breast cancer market will you initially be targeting with balixafortide?
Yeah, sure. So we target advanced HER2-negative market, which is a large and high unmet medical need. Our phase 3 study is in combination with eribulin and comprises of locally recurrent and metastatic breast cancer patients who had at least one chemotherapy prior, therefore pretty advanced patients. According to National Cancer Institute, 78% of about 275,000 new cases of breast cancer every year are HER2-negative. HER2-negative market consists of two segments, HR positive and triple negative. Lately, there have been a lot of novel treatments emerging, such as checkpoint inhibitors and sacituzumab in the triple negative segment. And rightfully so, because triple negative breast cancer is very aggressive. However, it makes roughly 10% of all breast cancer patients. The second segment we focus on is HR positive, which is 68% of the overall market, making bulk of these patients. Although it's not as aggressive as triple negative breast cancer, 5-year survival rates for distant tumors is about 30%, quite low. For advanced HER2-negative HR positive patients, recently there has not been many successes, including checkpoint inhibitors, not showing good outcomes. That's why by 2023, global data roughly expect 90+% of the HR positive patients who pass endocrine therapies to still receive mono chemotherapies. Large patient numbers, low survival rates, and lack of competition make this an attractive segment for balixafortide. In EU and US, we are roughly talking about 220,000 patients who are second line and beyond in HR positive market segment, which 90% of them again will be treated by chemos by that time, which can be targeted by balixafortide. So opportunity is large.
Great. And can you just walk us through the balixafortide phase 1 data?
Yeah, sure. So phase 1 B study was a single arm dose escalation trial in 56 advanced HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer patients at 11 sites in Spain and the US. We had low dose, medium dose, and high dose arms, which high dose arm was called our extended cohort. All dosing cohorts received approved dose of eribulin, so this is important. And balixafortide and eribulin demonstrated with strong results across all efficacy parameters. You can see also here overall response rate was about 38%. Clinical benefit rate was about 63%, which is roughly double what you would expect from eribulin in their pivotal trial. Progression-free survival was about 6.2 months, which is again almost double of what you would expect from the eribulin monotreatment, and the overall survival was about 18 months. It is important to note that balixafortide tolerability was very favorable, so only infusion-related reactions which are manageable were important adverse events that were associated with balixafortide alone. It is also important that we didn't have significant dose-limiting toxicities on top of eribulin, which makes Balixa an ideal partner for such chemotherapies in these late-stage patients. As a result of these strong patient outcomes that were seen in this trial, we were advised by FDA and EMA to do a pivotal phase 3 trial with an expanded patient number to seek for a potential registration directly.
Great. And so you're going to have phase 3 data that'll be released next year. Can you discuss the different possible scenarios for those results, and what sorts of results might lead to approval?
Yeah, sure. So once again, we expect the objective response rate data 6 months after last patient enrolled, which will be about Q2 2021. So if this data, if there is remarkable or overwhelming evidence of difference and efficacy, we will be submitting for a breakthrough designation, which can lead to an accelerated approval in the US. That would be an interim approval, and of course, with the PFS data, it could lead to a full approval. If that is not the case, we will go to progression-free survival, which is expected around Q4 2021, and that would be the means of regular submission in the FDA as well as EMA. So this program is already fast-tracked by FDA. Therefore, the potential breakthrough option at ORR gives us an option to submit for an accelerated approval. In terms of expectations, the trial has 90% power for detecting superiority at PFS of a difference about 1.9 months. So I would say roughly if we have a 2 months progression-free survival difference, that would make the difference meaningful, and therefore it would make the product potentially approvable as well as clinically meaningful.
You recently announced a partnership with Fosun Pharma. Can you discuss the partnership strategy for balixafortide?
Yes, sure. First of all, our recent China licensing agreement with Fosun was an important one because Fosun Pharma is a top 10 Chinese company. China is expected to be the second largest breast cancer market in the world and requires a dedicated development plan. Therefore, it was very important for us to expand the balixafortide opportunity in this large geography. Total deal value is up to $182 million plus royalties, and we have received a $50 million upfront. Doing a strong deal with such a reputable Chinese company is a strong validation to the scientific value and commercial potential for balixafortide. Therefore, we are quite pleased with this partnership. Regarding US and EU, our base case strategy is to partner it out while we believe Polyphor's core competencies in research and development and not commercialization. Therefore, we'll be looking for a partner. But from a timing point of view, we'll basically start the process after the ORR results in Q2 2021, and we plan not to partner before the PFS data, which is Q4 2021. Therefore, I would say the first half of 2022 is the likely timing when we partner balixafortide outside of China in the US and EU. In a way, this is good for us because we want to start our phase 1b/2 trial in earlier lines of metastatic breast cancer with another chemo in coming months this year. Along with the extensive preclinical work to profile balixafortide in other cancers and combinations that we do today, this phase 2 study with a different combination will strengthen the partnering value.
Great. That was very helpful. And Can you now, shifting gears to cystic fibrosis? Can you talk about the inhaled murepavadin program?
Sure. Inhaled murepavadin is our inhaled antibiotic to treat Pseudomonas aeruginosa in cystic fibrosis. This program is largely funded and supported by IMI, a European initiative, until end of phase 1, including the funding. We enter phase 1 later this year, with results expected in 2021. We plan to initiate phase 2 towards the end of 2021 and complete it in end of 2022. So this is a program that rapidly evolved to clinic, and we expect to be phase 2 finished by within 2 years. And in terms of the unmet need, I think this is really a good question. So after the Vertex revolution with CFTR modulators, infections remain to be a major problem. I mean, initially the expectations were that the patients will suffer less due to infections, but clinical evidence shows that this is not actually the case for most of the patients. And in fact, Cystic Fibrosis Foundation has committed to at least $100 million to Infection Research Initiative in 2019 last year. At the same time, patients are also aging, and Pseudomonas aeruginosa is the leading cause of lung function decline and mortality in cystic fibrosis, accounting for roughly 2/3 of the chronic infections, and especially in patients who are 20 years and older. Today, tobramycin and aztreonam are the commonly used inhaled antibiotics for cystic fibrosis, which are developed roughly 10 to 20 years ago. They're administered 2 to 3 times daily, which is slightly inconvenient. And despite their proven efficacy and exacerbations, lung function decline and mortality persist in these patients, mainly due to Pseudomonas aeruginosa. So here comes inhaled murepavadin as a potential new option. It's a new class antibiotic with significantly better in vitro potential against Pseudomonas aeruginosa, including resistant strains versus standard of care antibiotics today. It has potent activity in lung infection models. We have biofilm activity in vitro and has low resistance potential. We also seen a high safety margin in inhaled animal studies that we have done in the preclinical program. So this is a targeted antibiotic which kills Pseudomonas aeruginosa only. It's not a broad spectrum antibiotic. Given patients cycle antibiotics for chronic use in cystic fibrosis to really avoid resistance, inhaled murepavadin has potential to be the standard of care, being one of the 2 antibiotics cycled to administer chronic infections. Therefore, has the potential to be very important options for the patients.
Wonderful. That was extremely helpful. And maybe we could just wrap up and just remind investors what are the milestones they should be looking out for over the next 6 to 12 months? Great.
So first of all, I think Polyphor is an attractive investment with a late-stage oncology program and a diverse portfolio of best-in-class and first-in-class molecules in key public health areas. The company is well-funded into Q3 21. So the first data readout is well covered financially, and the progression-free survival readout will be in Q4 21. We also plan to initiate the second indication program with a phase 1b/2 study in Q4 2020 in earlier lines of metastatic breast cancer with another chemo this year. On the antibiotics end, inhaled murepavadin phase 1 trial will start later this year in Q4, and we expect the trial completion around mid-21. We might have data readouts in the interim with regards to this program as well. And finally, Polyphor has been very active in attracting non-dilutive financing for its antibiotics portfolio. We recently announced a CARB-X financing up to $18.4 million for our early-stage program, Tanatin derivatives. Therefore, we'll continue to be pursuing such opportunities, so stay in tune in next 12 months for news on such efforts.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I think this was extremely helpful.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.